The dark vastness of space stretched before the Earth exploration vessel, Curiosity, as it approached the uncharted planet. Captain Alex Reed stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the swirling atmosphere of the newly discovered world. It was beautiful in its own way. Bands of purple and red clouds wrapped around a surface that sensors showed to be mostly jagged mountains and deep valleys. "Captain, I'm picking up unusual energy readings from the surface," said Jack, the ship's science officer. "Nothing like we'd seen before." Alex nodded, running a hand through short brown hair. "Any signs of life?" "Hard to tell. The atmosphere is dense with toxic gases, and the surface temperature fluctuates wildly," Jack replied, adjusting the sensors. "But something's definitely active down there." After a brief meeting with the crew, Alex decided to lead a small team to the surface. Their mission was clear: collect samples and investigate the energy readings. The planet wasn't on any star charts, making this true exploration. The very reason Alex had joined the space program. The landing was rough. Winds buffeted their small craft as it descended through the thick atmosphere. When they finally touched down, the landscape around them was harsh and alien. Sharp rock formations stretched toward the sky like claws, while pools of bubbling liquid dotted the valley floor. "Keep your environment suits sealed at all times," Alex ordered the three-person team. "We have 4 hours before the storm system makes extraction impossible." They worked efficiently, collecting soil and rock samples while taking readings of the strange energy pulses that seemed to emanate from deeper within the planet. 2 hours into their mission, the weather began to change. What had been merely strong winds transformed into a howling storm. "We need to head back now," Alex called over the comm system as visibility dropped. "Everyone, return to the lander." The team acknowledged, but as they navigated back through the increasingly violent storm, a massive rock slide cut off Alex's path. With no choice but to find another route, Alex told the others to continue to the ship. "I'll circle around and meet you there. Don't wait longer than the extraction window," Alex ordered, knowing the safety of the crew came first. The storm grew worse. Visibility dropped to almost nothing as Alex struggled through a narrow canyon, guided only by the suit's compass pointing toward the landing site. Then the ground gave way. Alex tumbled down a steep slope, the suit absorbing most of the impact, but not all of it. Pain shot through Alex's leg as the helmet cracked against a rock. Emergency systems sealed the breach, but the communication unit went dead. Pulling up to a sitting position inside a small cave where the fall had ended, Alex checked the suit's oxygen levels. 6 hours remaining, enough to survive until a rescue team could return, assuming they could locate one person on this hostile planet. Then Alex heard it, a low, rumbling growl that seemed to shake the very ground. Turning slowly, Alex's light illuminated 2 reflective eyes in the darkness of the cave. They were huge, set in a head larger than a bear's, with rows of teeth visible as the creature's mouth parted. Alex froze. Every space explorer knew of the Razor Claw, the apex predator species found on only a handful of planets, feared throughout the galaxy for their ferocity and hunting prowess. No human had ever survived a close encounter with one. But something was different about this one. As it moved forward, Alex could see a deep gash in its side. The creature was wounded, its breathing labored. It snarled again, but made no move to attack. Against all training and common sense, Alex reached slowly for the medical kit. The creature watched, tensing but still not attacking. Perhaps it was too weak, or perhaps it was curious. "I won't hurt you," Alex said softly, knowing the beast couldn't understand but hoping the tone might. "Maybe we can help each other survive this planet." And in that moment, as human and predator regarded each other in the dim light of the storm-swept cave, something unprecedented in galactic history began. The night passed slowly inside the cave. Alex drifted between sleep and alertness, one eye always on the massive Razor Claw. The creature had settled at the opposite end of the cave, its massive chest rising and falling with labored breaths. The wound on its side had stopped bleeding after Alex had cautiously applied a medical sealant from the emergency kit. Morning brought a break in the storm. Sunlight filtered through the cave entrance, revealing the full majesty of the predator. Its body was covered in iridescent scales that shifted between blue and purple. Powerful limbs ended in claws that could slice through metal, and a ridge of spines ran down its back. Despite its fearsome appearance, the Razor Claw seemed more curious than threatening now. "I need to find my crew," Alex said, standing carefully. The creature's eyes followed every movement. Alex pointed toward the cave entrance, then to the sky. "People. Up there." The Razor Claw tilted its massive head, then slowly rose to its feet. It stood nearly 12 feet tall, dwarfing Alex completely. It moved toward the entrance, then turned back as if waiting. "You want me to follow you?" Alex asked, surprised. The creature made a chirping sound and motioned with its head again. Against all logic, Alex decided to trust this unexpected guide. Outside, the landscape had transformed. The storm had carved new pathways through the rock. Alex checked the suit's navigation system, but it was damaged beyond repair. Unlost, Alex admitted to the creature, "My ship, my people. I don't know where they are now." The Razor Claw sniffed the air, then made a huffing sound. It started walking in a direction that seemed random to Alex, pausing occasionally to look back. With no better options, Alex followed. They traveled for hours across the harsh terrain. The Razor Claw moved with surprising grace despite its injury, sometimes doubling back to help Alex over difficult passages. By midday, they reached a high ridge. The Razor Claw stopped and looked down. Below them was a lush valley hidden between mountain walls, completely invisible from orbit. Within it stood simple structures, nests, Alex realized. And moving among them were more Razor Claws, including several smaller ones. "It's your home," Alex whispered in awe. "Your family." The creature made a rumbling sound deep in its throat. It carefully picked its way down the slope, Alex following. The other Razor Claws noticed their approach immediately. Several larger ones moved forward, postures aggressive until Alex's companion made a series of complex clicks and growls. The tension eased slightly, though the others kept their distance. 3 small Razor Claws, clearly young, rushed forward to greet Alex's companion with excited chirps. "You have children," Alex said, understanding dawning. "You were protecting them when you got hurt." Over the next days, Alex learned to survive in the valley. The wounded Razor Claw, which Alex named Vex after the sound it made when happy, seemed determined to keep its human guest alive. It brought food, strange fruits and plant roots that Alex's suit analyzer confirmed were safe to eat. Most surprising was Vex's intelligence. It watched Alex repair parts of the damaged suit, then began bringing tools, simple rocks at first, then more complex items fashioned from bones and hardened sap. When Alex drew pictures in the dirt to try to communicate, Vex quickly grasped the concept and began drawing its own. A primitive language formed between them, part gesture, part sound, part drawing. Alex learned that the Razor Claws avoided human settlements, having been hunted nearly to extinction. Vex had been injured fighting off something it called metal hunters, people with weapons who had ventured close to the hidden valley. On the 7th day, as Alex and Vex sat watching the young Razor Claws play, Alex's repaired communicator suddenly crackled to life. "Captain Reed, do you copy? This is Curiosity." The voice was faint but clear. Vex tensed at the sound, spines rising along its back. "It's okay," Alex said, touching Vex's arm gently. "These are my people. They're looking for me." Vex made a low sound, somewhere between a growl and a purr. It looked at Alex, then at its young, then back at Alex. A decision seemed to form in its intelligent eyes. The Razor Claw rose to its full height and pointed toward the mountains. The meaning was clear. "You'll help me find them?" Alex asked. Vex nodded, a human gesture it had learned from watching Alex. The bond between human and predator had grown into something neither species had thought possible. The morning sky darkened as a sleek black ship cut through the atmosphere. Its design was unmistakable, angular, with weapon mounts visible along the hull. It was a hunter's vessel, built for tracking and capturing the most dangerous prey in the galaxy. Vex froze at the sound of the engines, every muscle in its massive body tensing. The creature's spines rose along its back, and it made a deep warning sound that echoed through the valley. The younger razor claws scattered instantly, disappearing into hidden burrows and crevices. "What is it?" Alex asked, though the answer was becoming clear as the ship circled overhead. Vex drew in the dirt with one claw, a figure holding a weapon, standing over a fallen razor claw. The message was unmistakable. "Hunters," Alex whispered. "They're hunting you." Inside the black ship, Dravik adjusted his tracking equipment. His scared face reflected in the monitor as it displayed heat signatures from the planet's surface. He was a legend among trophy hunters, with kills from 1,000 worlds mounted in his collection. But one prize had always eluded him, a full-grown razor claw. "There," he said to his crew of 4. Large cluster of heat signatures in that hidden valley. Razor claws, without doubt. His finger traced across the screen, stopping on 2 signatures moving away from the others. Interesting. One large creature, moving with something smaller. His second-in-command leaned closer. Could be prey it's carrying. "No," Dravik said, zooming in. "The smaller one is walking, and its pattern matches." He paused, surprise crossing his face. "A human. There's a human down there, walking with a razor claw." This changed everything. Dravik had hunted for 30 years, and never had he seen any creature willingly accompany a razor claw. If a human had somehow tamed one, the value of his potential trophy just multiplied tenfold. "Prepare the stun nets and tracking darts," he ordered. "I want both of them. Alive." Alex and Vex moved quickly through the rocky terrain, heading toward the mountains where the Curiosity's signal originated. Vex repeatedly glanced skyward, clearly troubled by the hunting vessel. "We need to hurry," Alex said, understanding the creature's concern. "Or hide." Vex chose a path that kept them under rock overhangs and through narrow canyons, avoiding open ground where they could be spotted from above. The creature's knowledge of the landscape proved invaluable as they navigated terrain that would have been impossible for Alex alone. They paused at a small stream, and Alex took the chance to check the communicator. The signal was stronger now. "This is Captain Reed. I'm alive and heading toward your position. Be advised, I am not alone." The response came quickly. "Captain." "Thank goodness. What do you mean, not alone? Are you a prisoner?" Alex looked at Vex, who was drinking from the stream, its massive head dipping gracefully to the water. "No," Alex replied. "I have a friend. A native species, highly intelligent. It's helping me." There was a long pause before the response. "Captain, our scans show only one native species on that planet capable of intelligence. The razor claw. Are you saying?" "Yes," Alex confirmed. "And they're not what we thought. They're not mindless predators. They're intelligent. They have families, communication." The transmission cut off as a high-pitched whine filled the air. Vex roared, pushing Alex aside just as a metallic net crashed down where they had been standing. The net sparked with electricity, designed to incapacitate even the largest prey. "Run," Alex shouted, though Vex was already moving. Together, they sprinted through the canyon as a small drone zipped overhead, tracking their movement. Dravik's voice boomed from the drone. "Interesting specimen you found there, human. I'll make you a deal. Help me capture it, and I'll share the profit. Fight me, and you'll both end up mounted on my wall." Alex and Vex ducked into a narrow cave as tracking darts embedded themselves in the rock behind them. Inside, Vex led the way through a complex tunnel system, clearly familiar with these escape routes. "My crew will find us," Alex whispered as they paused in a wider chamber. "We just need to evade that hunter until then." Vex made a series of clicking sounds, then used a claw to draw in the soft dirt of the cave floor. It showed the hunter's ship, then several razor claws surrounding it. The message was clear. Vex's people could help fight back. "No," Alex said, shaking their head. "Too dangerous. He has weapons designed to kill your kind." Vex's eyes, intelligent and determined, held Alex's gaze. The mighty creature placed one claw gently on Alex's shoulder. In that moment, a plan began to form between human and predator, one that neither Dravik nor the crew of the Curiosity would ever expect. The hunt had begun, but the hunters didn't realize they might soon become the hunted. Alex and Vex emerged from the tunnel system at a point far from where they'd entered. The distant roar of Dravik's ship could still be heard, but they had bought themselves time. Vex gestured toward a steep cliff face that appeared solid from a distance. "There's something there?" Alex asked, following the razor claw's lead. Vex made a low rumbling sound and approached the rock wall. With surprising gentleness, the massive creature pressed its claws against specific points on the stone. A section of rock slid away, revealing a narrow passage. "Hidden doors. Your species built this," Alex whispered in awe. Inside, the passage opened into a vast chamber that took Alex's breath away. The walls were covered in intricate carvings and what appeared to be writing, symbols flowing in complex patterns. The chamber was clearly artificial, with smooth floors and precisely angled walls. Most surprising was a central platform that held what could only be described as technology, though unlike any Alex had seen before. This is a civilization," Alex said, running a hand over the symbols. "Your people built all this." Vex moved to the central platform and placed a claw on what appeared to be a control panel. Lights flickered to life, dim at first, then brighter. A three-dimensional image appeared above the platform, a star map with several points highlighted. "You were spacefaring," Alex whispered, understanding dawning. The razor claws weren't always just predators. You had a civilization spread across multiple worlds. Vex made a series of clicks and growls, then pointed to one section of the wall. The carvings there showed razor claws facing off against humanoid figures. The next panel showed something being released into the air, and razor claws falling, changing. "Someone attacked your species," Alex said, studying the images. "Some kind of biological weapon." The creature nodded, a gesture it had learned from Alex. It moved to another panel and pressed a sequence into the control surface. A small compartment opened, revealing a crystal storage device. Vex carefully removed it and offered it to Alex. "You want me to take this, to show my people?" Before Vex could respond, Alex's communicator crackled to life. "Captain Reed, we've located your position. We're landing 2 kilometers to your north. Are you safe?" It was Jack's voice, tense with concern. "I'm fine. We're heading your way. Remember what I said about not being alone." There was a pause. "Captain, we're picking up another ship in the area, heavily armed." "Dravik," Alex said grimly. "He's a hunter after Vex. We need to move fast." They exited the hidden chamber, Vex carefully sealing it behind them. As they made their way toward the Curiosity's landing site, Alex kept the crystal device secure in a suit pocket. Whatever information it contained might be the key to understanding the true nature of the razor claws. The Curiosity came into view as they crested a ridge, a welcome sight after days on the harsh planet. But the crew's reaction to Vex was less welcoming. 4 crew members stood at the ship's ramp, weapons drawn and aimed at the massive predator. "Captain, get away from it," shouted Jack, his rifle steady. "That's a razor claw, most dangerous predator in the known galaxy." "Lower your weapons," Alex commanded, stepping in front of Vex. "This creature saved my life. It's intelligent, and its species has been deeply misunderstood." The standoff was tense, with the crew exchanging confused glances. "With all due respect, Captain, that thing could tear you apart in seconds," said Mira, the security chief. "If that were true, I'd already be dead," Alex replied. "I've lived with Vex and its kind for days. They have a society, communication, technology. Look at this." Alex carefully removed the crystal device, holding it up. "This contains their history. They weren't always just predators. Something was done to them. Some kind of attack that changed them, reduced them." The crew's skepticism was obvious, but before anyone could respond, the roar of engines announced another arrival. Dravik's ship appeared over the ridge, weapon systems visibly charging. "Everyone inside, now," Alex ordered. "And yes, Vex comes with us. That's an order." The crew hesitated only briefly before backing up the ramp, weapons still half-raised. Vex followed Alex into the Curiosity, the first Razorclaw to ever willingly enter a human vessel. As the ramp closed behind them, Dravik's ship opened fire on the ground where they had just stood. Inside the ship, amidst the shocked stares of the crew, Alex inserted the crystal device into a data reader. What appeared on the screen would change humanity's understanding of Razorclaws forever. The Curiosity broke atmosphere with a violent shudder as Dravik's hunting vessel fired another volley of energy blasts at their engines. Inside the bridge, the crew worked frantically to maintain shields and plot a jump course away from the planet. "He's gaining on us," called out Mira from Tactical. "That ship is built for pursuit. We won't outrun him." Captain Alex stood at the center of the bridge, one hand on Vex's massive shoulder. The Razorclaw had remained calm despite the chaos, though its spines raised whenever the ship took a hit. The rest of the crew kept shooting nervous glances at the Predator, still uncomfortable with its presence. "What about that crystal data?" Alex asked, turning to Jack at the science station. "Any progress?" Jack nodded, his eyes never leaving the screen. "It's incredible, Captain. The crystal contains thousands of years of Razorclaw history. They called themselves the Varick in their language. They had colonies on 7 planets before." "Before what?" Alex pressed. "Before the Galactic Council of that era declared them too dangerous to exist as an advanced species," Jack said quietly. "They were seen as a threat because of their natural physical abilities combined with their intelligence. The Council authorized a targeted bioweapon that would degrade their brain functions over generations, reducing them to primitive hunters." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Vex made a low, mournful sound. "You understood all that, didn't you?" Alex asked the creature. Vex nodded, its eyes reflecting a deep sadness. A direct hit rocked the ship, throwing everyone sideways. "Port engine damage," called the pilot. "We can't make the jump to light speed." "Open a channel to Dravik," Alex ordered. The hunter's scarred face appeared on the main screen, a triumphant smile revealing metal teeth. "Ready to surrender my prizes, Captain. I'll even let your crew live if you hand over the Razorclaw. And yourself." "Why me?" Alex demanded. "The first human to tame a Razorclaw. You'll make an excellent addition to my living collection." Dravik's smile widened. "Though I can't promise how long you'll remain living." Alex cut the transmission and turned to the crew. "We need to send this data to Galactic Command. The truth about the Razorclaws needs to be known. Communications are being jammed," Mira reported. "We can't send anything while he's on our tail." Vex suddenly moved to the navigation console, pointing at the star map with one claw. It traced a path to a nearby system, then made a series of clicking sounds. "What is it trying to say?" asked the pilot, leaning away from the massive Predator. Alex studied the map. I think Vex is saying there are more Razorclaws there. Maybe a colony that survived with their intelligence intact." Jack checked the data crystal. "The records do mention a hidden sanctuary. It could be what Vex is pointing to." "Can we reach it with our damaged engine?" Alex asked. The pilot nodded hesitantly. "Maybe. It's closer than our original destination." "Set course," Alex ordered. Full emergency power. The Curiosity changed direction, limping toward the coordinates Vex had indicated. Dravik's ship followed relentlessly, continuing to fire occasional shots to weaken their shields. As they flew, Alex worked with Vex and Jack to review more of the crystal's data. The truth was more shocking than they had imagined. The Razorclaws hadn't just been victims. They had once been peaceful explorers with technology that surpassed current galactic standards. According to this, Jack said, pointing to translated text, their brains have a unique structure that allows for something like telepathic communication between members of their species. But the most interesting part is this. He highlighted a section of data. Human brain chemistry is surprisingly compatible with their communication method. That's why you and Vex bonded so quickly. A warning alarm blared through the ship. Dravik is charging weapons for a full assault, Mira reported. Our shields won't hold against it. And there's more, the pilot added. I'm picking up 3 Galactic Authority vessels approaching from Sector 4. They're ordering us to stop and prepare for boarding. Alex looked at Vex, then at the approaching system on the view screen. They were so close to potential safety, yet surrounded by threats on all sides. They must have picked up our transmission about the Razorclaw before Dravik jammed us, Jack said. The galactic code is clear. Transporting an apex predator across system lines is illegal without special containment. Vex made a series of urgent sounds, pointing again at the star map. The hidden sanctuary was just hours away, but with damaged engines and pursuers closing in from multiple directions, reaching it seemed impossible. We need a diversion, Alex said firmly, and I think I know how to create one. As the crew gathered around to hear the plan, Vex stood tall beside the human captain. Whatever happened next, the unique bond between human and Razorclaw would face its greatest test. The Curiosity dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a shudder, its damaged engines barely functional. Before them hung a small moon orbiting a gas giant, its surface a patchwork of dense forests and crystal blue lakes. This is it, Alex said softly. The sanctuary Vex showed us. No sooner had they established orbit than the space around them flashed with the arrival of their pursuers. First came Dravik's hunting vessel, its weapon systems already charging. Minutes later, 3 Galactic Authority ships appeared, their sleek gray hulls bearing the official markings of law enforcement. They'd surrounded us, Mira reported from Tactical. No escape vectors available. The communication system crackled to life as both Dravik and the Authority demanded their surrender. The Authority commander's stern face filled the main view screen. Captain Reed, you are in violation of Galactic Code 347. Transportation of Class A predatory species. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. The creature will be contained and your crew detained pending investigation. Alex stepped forward, Vex at their side. Commander, I request a formal hearing under galactic law. We have evidence that changes everything known about the Razorclaw species. Evidence. The commander's expression showed skepticism. What possible evidence could justify transporting the galaxy's most lethal predator? Before Alex could answer, the screen split to show Dravik's scared face. Don't listen to this fool, Commander. The Razorclaw is my rightful prey. I tracked it first, and this human interfered with a licensed hunt. Both of you will stand down, the commander ordered. This is now an Authority matter. Alex nodded to Jack, who transmitted a small portion of the crystal's data to the Authority vessel. Commander, the creatures you call Razorclaws were once a civilization known as the Ferric. They were victims of biological warfare that reduced most of their kind to primitive states. The individual with me has retained the species' original intelligence. The commander's eyes widened as he reviewed the data on a secondary screen. His moment of surprise was interrupted by alarms blaring across all ships. Multiple contacts appearing, Mira shouted. Emerging from the moon's surface, rising from the forests of the sanctuary moon, came a dozen sleek vessels unlike any the humans had seen before. Their design was organic yet clearly technological, resembling the flowing lines of the writing in the hidden chamber. Aboard the Curiosity, Vex made a series of excited clicking sounds. "Are those razor claw ships?" Jack whispered in awe. The new vessels formed a protective formation around the Curiosity. A transmission came through, not in words, but in a series of complex tones and clicks that Vex immediately answered. "They're communicating," Alex explained to the stunned crew. "There are more intelligent Razorclaws. They maintained their civilization in hiding all this time." On the view screen, the Authority commander looked stunned. "This is unprecedented. We need to contact the Galactic Council for instructions on how to proceed." "There's no time," Alex insisted. "Dravik won't wait for your bureaucracy." True to Alex's prediction, Dravik's hunting vessel suddenly powered up its weapons to maximum. "If I can't have my trophy, no one will," the hunter snarled, targeting not just the Curiosity but the Razorclaw vessels as well. What happened next would be recorded in galactic history. As Dravik fired, Vex let out a loud, complex pattern of sounds. The Razorclaw vessels responded instantly, moving in perfect coordination. Rather than returning fire, they projected some kind of energy field that absorbed Dravik's weapons barrage completely. Two of the Razorclaw ships then broke formation, moving with incredible speed to flank Dravik's vessel. They fired precision beams that disabled his weapon systems without destroying the ship. "That's impossible," breathed the Authority commander. "Such precise control of energy technology." Vex stepped forward, and to everyone's astonishment, spoke in a halting but clear approximation of human language, something it had been learning from Alex all along. "Not monsters. We, peaceful, want talk." The bridge fell silent. Alex placed a hand on Vex's shoulder, pride evident in their eyes. "Commander," Alex said to the stunned Authority officer, "I formally request recognition of the Varric, the true name of the Razorclaw people, as a sentient species with full rights under galactic law. And I offer to serve as intermediary between our peoples." The commander looked at the disabled hunting vessel, the protective formation of advanced Razorclaw ships, and finally at the massive predator standing calmly beside a human captain. "Captain Reed," he said slowly, "I believe the Galactic Council will want to hear this case directly. All parties will proceed to Central Station for an emergency session." Dravik's protests could be heard in the background as the Authority took his ship in tow. The stand had been made, and against all odds, the truth about the galaxy's most feared predators would finally be heard. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council gleamed under the light of 3 suns, its crystal dome refracting rainbows across the assembled delegates. At the center of the hall stood Captain Alex Reed, looking small but determined before the Council's elevated platform. Beside Alex stood Vex, the Razorclaw's massive form drawing whispers and nervous glances from the gathered representatives of 100 worlds. "The Council recognizes Captain Alex Reed of Earth and the being known as Vex of the species formerly classified as Razorclaw," announced the Chief Counselor, a tall blue-skinned being with 6 eyes. "You may present your case." Alex stepped forward, activating a holographic display that showed the data from the crystal device. "Honored Council, what I present today will change our understanding of a species we have feared for generations. The beings we call Razorclaws were once known as the Varric, an advanced civilization that spanned 7 worlds. Images appeared showing the ancient Varric cities, their technology, their art. Many counselors leaned forward, unable to hide their surprise. 3,000 years ago, the Varric were targeted with a biological weapon designed to degrade their intelligence over generations, reducing them to primitive hunters. This was done because their natural physical abilities, combined with their advanced technology, were feared by the powers of that era. A murmur ran through the hall. The Chief Counselor raised a hand for silence. "These are serious claims, Captain. What proof do you offer beyond this data, which could be fabricated?" At this, the doors to the hall opened. In walked a delegation of Varric from the Sanctuary Moon. each standing as tall as Vex, but wearing ceremonial garments that marked them as leaders. The council chamber erupted in shocked exclamations. The lead Varric, distinguished by silver markings on its scales, stepped forward beside Alex. When it spoke, its voice was deep but clear, having mastered human languages. I am Elder Krell of the remaining Varric. For 3 millennia, we have hidden, preserving what remained of our civilization after the Great Betrayal. We seek not vengeance for past wrongs, but recognition and protection for our future. The evidence presented over the next hours was irrefutable. The Varric demonstrated their advanced technology, their complex language, and their peaceful intentions. Medical scans confirmed the artificial nature of the genetic changes that had reduced most of their kind to primitive states. In a corner of the chamber, Dravik sat in restraints, his face twisted with anger as his claims of hunting rights were systematically dismantled. When he attempted to interrupt the proceedings, the council ordered him removed. "The creature is mine by right," he shouted as guards led him away. "I tracked it first. That creature has just proven itself more civilized than you," the chief counselor replied coldly. As the session neared its end, Alex and Vex stood together while the council deliberated. Their journey had taken them from a chance encounter in a storm-swept cave to the highest authority in the galaxy. Whatever the council decided, their friendship had already changed history. Finally, the chief counselor rose. By unanimous vote, the council recognizes the Varric as a sentient species with full rights under galactic law. Their home planet and the sanctuary moon are hereby designated protected territories. Furthermore, research will begin immediately on reversing the genetic damage done to the wild populations. The hall erupted in applause, hesitant at first, then growing stronger. Elder Krell bowed deeply to the council, then turned to Alex. "Without you, this day would never have come," the Varric leader said. "You saw beyond fear to truth. The Varric will not forget." 6 months later, Alex stood on a viewing platform overlooking the first Varric human outpost. Below, teams of scientists from both species worked together, studying ways to restore intelligence to the wild Resorclaws. Already, several dozen had responded to treatment, beginning the long journey back to their ancestral awareness. Vex approached, now wearing the markings of a Varric ambassador. Since the council ruling, the once feared predator had become a symbol of cooperation throughout the galaxy. "Next group of human visitors arrive tomorrow," Vex said, its command of human language now fluent. "They still afraid?" Alex smiled, watching a young Varric playing with human children in a protected area below. "Less afraid each time. Change takes time, my friend." "Time we now have," Vex replied, looking up at the stars. "Because one human not afraid to help enemy." "You were never my enemy," Alex said simply. Together they watched the twin suns set over the new settlement, where the galaxy's most lethal predator and its former prey now walked a shared path into the future. The old stories of the fearsome Razorclaw would remain, but alongside them, a new story had begun, one of understanding, redemption, and an unlikely friendship that had changed the course of history. In the end, the greatest predator had proven to be prejudice itself, and the strongest weapon against it, the simple courage to see beyond appearances.